It's time for Clemson Sports Talk with Lawton Swan.
Just call me Swanee.
Tiger style. Tiger style.
Finally, Clemson Sports Talk has come back to drive time. Hello, everybody. Lawton Swan back in the saddle. Once again, it is the show that shakes the Southland. Clemson Sports Talk for you each and every afternoon as you make your way around the great state of South Carolina and beyond, listening to us on incredible radio stations like Fox Sports Radio 1400 the Midlands around the world. On the iHeart Radio application. Glad to be back with you here on a Friday. Glad to be rolling into the weekend. The College Football Playoff National Championship Monday night, Alabama, Georgia. In all SEC affair. We put it out earlier in the week. Because it's a rematch of the SEC Championship game, will this pull low numbers? Again, just for the sake of keeping you in the loop, that last Alabama-Georgia matchup in the College Football Playoff was not a rematch of the SEC Championship game. Clemson gets the news out to the media earlier today. Former Clemson Tiger defensive lineman Nick Eason will be replacing Todd Bates as the defensive line coach. He will also be in charge of defensive run game coordination. We'll talk more about the veteran of 17 combined years as an NFL player and or coach, Nick Eason, the native of Lyons, Georgia, back in Tiger Town. I know yesterday we talked with Tim Beret about Nick and Nick's opportunity in Clemson. Here's what Tim Beret told us yesterday about the former Tiger defensive lineman.
Well, I was not on the inside on all that transpired there, but obviously what we know on the outside is that, Todd was going to get a good bump in pay to $515,000, was going to be assistant head coach. Now he wasn't going to be a co-coordinator, but assistant head coach seems like a pretty good, title, but then obviously after the last game, things changed, whether that was in the works beforehand. And they just held everything off until after recruiting. I really don't know, but it appears from all that you read that Nick Eason is going to come back to Clemson and replace Todd. And I think that's going to be a home run hire. You got a combination of a guy who's a Clemson guy, was a great year here, two-time captain. Really, I tell people he's kind of was Christian Wilkins before Christian Wilkins. He didn't have the acclaim as a player, but he was first-team All-ACC. He was not an All-American like Christian was, but graduated. He got 2 degrees in his 5 years here, just like Christian did. He was. They picked the top 6 student athletes in community service across the entire athletic department when he was here, and Bill DeAndre was running Vickery, and Nick was one of those 6. All 5 years he was here, the only person to win that honor 5 consecutive years. And now, he's got a lot of experience as a professional coach, and was at Auburn this past year. From what we understand, Auburn brought in 4 new defensive linemen. It looks like he did pretty well in recruiting. So Todd did a great job. We wish him well with Coach Venable, but I think we got a great person to replace him.
Yeah, you look at what Nick did, and obviously I was there at the same time and knew Nick. I think was he the first football player to graduate in 2 years? Is that right?
3 years.
3 years.
He got his undergrad in 3 years, but then he got his master's before he finished out his eligibility. So I think he was the first. I'd say the first prominent player, scholarship guy, to get 2 degrees over his, playing career. But yeah, he was kind of a model student athlete when he was here. Very outgoing and a real team leader.
Which fits right into what Dabo Swinney is trying to build with that foundation at Clemson. So we will indeed see once that news finally comes out official from Clemson. Nick Eason, the former Clemson Tiger defensive lineman, looks like he'll be joining Dabo Swinney's
now,
staff.
How about that if you put that a typo on your website, said Nick Saban coming to Clemson to be defensive line coach?
Yeah, who says Dabo Swinney doesn't go out and get good coaches?
That's right.
So I will say this too, right? Like, of the 10 staffers now, if this does indeed happen and go through, half of them will be former Clemson Tiger football players.
Yeah, I guess so. Now, of course, Nick never played for Dabo. Nick's last year was the year before Dabo came. But yeah, I guess of course, we did lose one, and Tony Elliott moving on to Virginia.
Yeah, you'd have Nick and Tyler Grisham and Brandon Streeter and who am I missing?
CJ and Austin.
There's what Tim Beret had to say about it all yesterday. And again, half of those staff members are now former Clemson Tigers, with it being made official earlier today. When you look at it, along with Lemansky Hall, I think Nick Eason's got a great job to do. Some really good work at Clemson. Dabo Swinney saying Nick is the epitome of what I look for in a coach. He went on to say he has had an incredible passion for the game. He's got a great background, and he truly loves the player. In this hire, I really wanted a guy who had experience at the NFL level. I wanted somebody who had coached the best of the best at the highest level, and that's exactly what he's done. He was a great player at Clemson. He's a great Clemson man. Eason returns to Tiger Town, where he was a 4-year letterman for the Tigers from 1999 to 2002. You heard the accolades from legendary Clemson SID Tim Beret just a few moments ago, talking about what he feels Nick Eason brings to the table. He was a 2-time dedication award winner at Clemson by the Clemson strength and conditioning staff. And again, poured himself not only into the gridiron, but also into the classroom. Eason saying, to have this opportunity to come back to Clemson is a blessing from God. It is a dream for most coaches to have the opportunity to coach at their alma mater, and that is the case for me. He said, I want to thank Coach Swinney for the opportunity to be a part of the program with such a rich tradition, one that has become one of the best in the nation. I am looking forward to working with one of the best defensive lines in the country. Again, Nick Eason back in Tiger Town. Tim Beret saying, I think we've got a good one to replace him, talking about Todd Bates, who is now out at Oklahoma. Your thoughts on Eason's hire? You could text us 803-450-0086, 803-450-0086. Eason spent 10 seasons from 2003 through 2012 in the NFL, playing in 117 NFL games with the Browns, Steelers, and Arizona Cardinals. Originally a 4th-round selection by the Denver Broncos in the 2003 draft, spent his rookie season on the injured reserve list with an Achilles injury, never played with the Denver Broncos, and made his way to coaching in 2013 as an intern with the Cleveland Browns. Then he spent time in 2014. He was hired by the Tennessee Titans to oversee their transition from a 4-3 to a 3-4 defense. Spent 2 seasons as an assistant defensive line coach from 2014 through 2015, becoming the defensive line coach for the Titans in 2016 and 2017. Then ended up from 2019 through 2020 was the defensive line coach for the Bengals, and then ultimately would end up down in Auburn a year ago. So Clemson has landed Nick Eason to come back and coach on that defensive front. And again, the thing I want to point to that I think is so significant is the fact that this opportunity for Clemson lands you a guy who is already entrenched in the state of Alabama, where Todd Bates already recruits. As a matter of fact, when I was going through the images online for Nick Eason, 3 of them were photos of Eason and Bates recruiting on the sidelines of a high school football game at the same time. Bates for Clemson, Nick Eason for Auburn. You've also got the fact that Eason, being a former Tiger, has direct connections to this Clemson program. And you heard about his accolades academically and how that also pushes forward the mindset that Dabo Swinney has for his players that are on campus playing football. And last but not least, being a native of the state of Georgia, you know how impactful that state is on Clemson's success. And Eason already in Alabama with Auburn, right there on that Georgia line, has also got great ties to that state, being a native son of the state of Georgia. 803-450-0086. Again, let us know what you think about the hire. Are you excited? Is this the miss? Should Clemson have gone bigger, better, and brighter? I know people are throwing out Ed Orgeron's name for a while. Just, I think, jokingly more than – maybe not jokingly, but I think, kind of in the standpoint of if you're going to go out and get somebody, go get like a huge, huge name. Instead, Clemson gets Nick Eason, a big enough name at home, and somebody that I think a lot of fans already know and remember from his time playing at Clemson. We'll see how it goes now. Brent Venables, Todd Bates, Miguel Chavis, and others, Ted Roof, all of those guys out at Oklahoma. And your Clemson Tigers now getting ready for a 2020 campaign that is going to be, I think, incredibly entertaining, given the fact that you open with Georgia Tech in Atlanta in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium there, the new stadium, your first venture in for most Tiger fans. I mean, unless you've gone to watch some other game there, but for most of you, it will be your first trip to that new stadium. You know you've got the offseason buzz surrounding Cade Klubnik's arrival. He'll be playing tomorrow, by the way, on NBC in the Army All-American game at noon. The 5-star quarterback out of Westlake High School in Texas will be arriving in Tigertown in just a few short days. And that might give him the additional time that is needed to get your body right for the college football campaign. Like a lot of people, when we start talking about Cade Klubnik and his ability to play collegiately in 2021, quickly point out his wiry frame, if you will. Not the biggest, not the thickest, especially not when you're comparing him to a guy like DJ, who is just huge at the quarterback spot. But I think in the right system, the right pieces around him, and given the additional time that he'll have arriving on campus early to maybe transform his body a little bit over 6-7 months. And I'm not telling you he's too small to play now. Like that, don't buy into that narrative if that's what you think I'm trying to sell you on. But what I am trying to get at is, if that is a concern for you, this will allow Cade Klubnik to get a chance to add some additional LBs, some additional mass, and be ready to rock and roll for the fall. 6'2.5", 186 pounds. That compared to, say, Bryce Young at Alabama, just to give you an idea. Again, Klubnik, 6'2.5", 186. Bryce Young, 6 foot, 194. So we're not talking about having to beef him up too much. If you can get him close to 195 pounds, maybe 200 pounds, you might be in the wheelhouse. About 14, 15 pounds on that body over the next 6 months or so. Lean muscle mass. Can it be done? Yeah. You doggone right it can be. 803-450-0086. But I do think there will be an immense amount of interest in this quarterback battle between these two guys, Cade Klubnik and DJ Uiagalelei, heading into the 2022 campaign. All of the changes, Thomas Austin on the offensive line, and CJ Spiller with another year under his belt. You've got a new offensive coordinator in Brandon Streeter. You got Wes Goodwin, a new defensive coordinator. You've got the changes on the staff with Nick Eason coming in. I mean, lots of different things taking shape and taking place up in Tiger Town this offseason. And I don't think there's any question that for a lot of Tiger fans, there will be more interest this year just because of the fact that for the first time in a long time, you're not entering with the expectations of a college football playoff is something that you are absolutely going to be a part of. Like, that was the one thing about this past year. You know, I got together with my family at Christmas, and one of my nephews, and then when I talk about my nephews, I'm not talking about like an 8-year-old. I'm talking about like grown men, 30. One of my nephews said to me, he said, man, you know what about this season? He said, every game was exciting. And it reminded me of what Dabo Swinney said when he was behind the podium after one of Clemson's tight ball games. He said, man, for those of y'all that said you were bored, this is not verbatim, but essentially he said, for those of y'all that were bored when we're beating the brakes off of people, I sure hope you're having fun now. I hope you're entertained now. But, I mean, that's the truth. Like, season on top of season, we went in with the conversation that Clemson was going to be in the college football playoff, and they might very well be back in the playoff this coming year. I mean, they may very well be in the playoff. That's not an unreasonable goal. It certainly can be met by Clemson. But I think to be able to have this offseason where you just have to kind of wonder about it and wonder about whether or not you can even get to the ACC championship game. I mean, that's the other thing. It's like you don't have to be perfect, but there is still a chance that if you lose one to an NC State or Wake Forest or whoever, you might not get in the ACC championship game. Like, the margin of error seems a lot more narrow today, and I think a lot of that has to do with the confidence level that people have in DJ Uiagalelei. Clemson's first, well, I guess technically not all of their games, but all their out-of-conference games. Here's what the Tigers are looking at. September the 5th, we know the opener in conference against Georgia Tech, Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. They'll take on Louisiana Tech on September the 17th at Memorial Stadium. They'll also face off with Furman next year at Memorial Stadium. They'll take on Notre Dame in South Bend on November the 5th. They'll take on South Carolina November the 26th at Clemson. The game dates we do not know yet are those matchups with Boston College, Louisville, Miami, Syracuse, NC State, Florida State, and Wake Forest. So we know 5. We don't know 7. But we do know you got to match up with Notre Dame, a team that was on the cusp of the college football playoff this past season. We'll hit a quick break. Stay with us for more. The show that shakes the Southland.
Fox Sports Radio 1400 traffic.
A look at traffic shows a wreck on I-20 eastbound near the Bush River Road exit. Also a wreck on Wire Road at Juniper Springs.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. Need new hires in the new year? You need Indeed to help find your next hire. When you sponsor a post, you get a list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Breathe easier in your home in 2022 with Zero Res Air Duct Cleaning. It's the only company I trust to get my home insanely clean. Right now, when you mention this station, you can get $30 off your next air duct cleaning, plus 15% off filters and purifiers. Schedule online at ZeroResColumbia.com.
If your New Year's resolution is to spend more quality time with your partner, don't let ED get in the way. The professional erectile dysfunction specialists at Peak Performance for Men know that a new year means a new you, and they're ready to help. 90% of male performance issues are caused by old, broken down blood vessels, which affects blood flow. Peak Performance for Men treats this problem using focused linear compression therapy, an FDA-cleared medical device. Our focused linear compression therapy is a scientifically proven, minimally invasive procedure that uses pulsed energy waves to open and repair aging blood vessels. This increases blood flow, stimulates stem cell growth, and greatly improves male performance. With Peak Performance for Men, there are no medications, no surgery, and no side effects. Over 80% of men who receive the treatment experience long-term improvement. Call now to receive your free consultation and free medical ultrasound at 803-302-8181. Schedule now at 803-302-8181.
Way back when, Columbia was a vast dining desert, a wasteland for fast, fresh, authentic Southwestern food. Weren't nothing bundled up nice and warm in a tortilla. Columbia needed Diablos. Southwestern the way you want it. The real deal, with no shortcuts in quality and served up as fast and fresh as you want it. Diablo Southwest Grill, Sunset Boulevard in Lexington. DiabloSouthwestGrill.com.
Major key alert. Don't ever play yourself. Life is like school. You will be tested, so pass it.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at GetSchooled.com.
Stay focused. Now that's a major key alert.
Brought to you by Get Schooled and the Ad Council.
Dad, this is fun. I didn't think I liked kayaking.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, but I think it's time to head back in.
Okay. Can we come back?
Sure.
Tomorrow?
Let's check with Mom. Hey, be careful getting out of the boat.
It's a kayak, Dad.
I'm going to return the kayak. Just make sure you have everything.
Yep. Can we walk home?
How about a taxi? 233 North Maple, please.
It's a short fare from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a neighborhood park or green space near you. Also, find fun activities to do like boating and biking or camping and hiking, plus much more. It's all right in your naturehood.
Best day ever.
A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
Unit 121, responding to possible carbon monoxide poisoning.
Carbon monoxide is an odorless, colorless, tasteless gas that kills more than 500 Americans every year. Never use generators, grills, camp stoves, or other gasoline or charcoal burning devices inside your home, basement, or garage, or near a window. If it's cold, stay with friends or family or in a shelter. To learn more, call 1-800-CDC-INFO.
Welcome back to Clemson Sports Talk. Join the show in the chat room at ClemsonSportsTalk.com.
Happy Friday, and again, welcome to the first week of 2022. Clemson Sports Talk, the show that shakes the Southland. Our website, put the .com on it. Doggone it. ClemsonSportsTalk.com. So I know a lot of people listening to this show are pretty much new to being Jacksonville Jaguar fans. I mean, when Trevor Lawrence ends up down there and Travis Etienne ends up down there, you think, man, that's my squad. I mean, unless you're just tried and true, born and bred in a relationship with the New York Giants or Miami Dolphins or whoever, you probably leaned in pretty heavily on Trevor Lawrence and Jacksonville. Now, it was disappointing that Etienne couldn't play this year. And with Lawrence being Clemson's first number one pick, I think that also increases the interest from Tiger fans in whatever level of success he has there. And it's been a rough year. They're going to – I don't know if they've cinched it up yet, but they're close to cinching up the number one pick this coming season as well. But according to sources, Byron Leftwich, the offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, will apparently get an opportunity to interview for that job. Now, let's not forget our conversation a couple of weeks ago about Byron Leftwich, who is actually younger than his current quarterback with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tom Brady. Think about that. He's the offensive coordinator, and he's younger than his quarterback, Byron Leftwich. But if he does indeed become the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, you would think this would be a positive for Trevor Lawrence, that he's getting a guy in Leftwich who has worked right alongside Tom Brady for 2 seasons. And you can only imagine, you know this, and when we talk about Trevor on this show, we've often compared him to Tom Brady. And look, that's an unfair comparison if you're talking about success at the NFL level. But I think from the frame standpoint, from the ability standpoint, Trevor Lawrence has the goods to be the best quarterback in the NFL for an extended period. I do not deny that fact. But in order to get there, you got to cross some tough bridges, some hurdles along the way. And it would appear that Urban Meyer was one of those for Trevor Lawrence. Now, will Leftwich get the job? Who knows? Who knows? The Buccaneers currently lead the NFL in yards per game with over 400, passing yards per game with over 300, and rank second in points per game this season. The Jaguars sort of on the opposite end of that spectrum when it comes down to the offensive numbers, and I don't think that just hiring Byron Leftwich is going to be the end of the pain for Trevor Lawrence early on in his career in Jacksonville. But if you can get under the tutelage of a guy who has been able to observe and follow and listen and learn from Tom Brady, that would seem to be a big benefit for a guy like Trevor Lawrence in my estimation. And so keep your eyes on that, because I think, there are other names out there, obviously. I know a ton of people who think Eric Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator out at Kansas City, who played at Colorado, I know a lot of people think that he should be one of those, the next guy up when it comes to being a head coach. But I almost wonder, with a guy like Trevor, if Shad Khan wouldn't feel more excited about getting Leftwich, who had worked with Tom Brady, than, say, Eric Bieniemy, who has worked with Patrick Mahomes. And so if that does end up coming to fruition, that Lawrence ends up being coached by Byron Leftwich, the former Marshall quarterback, could that signal a positive step forward for Trevor Lawrence simply because you'll get a chance to learn some of the things that made Tom Brady great. Like, if you assume this is some sort of top secret peek behind the curtain, here's how I get ready for games, or here's what I do, here's how I get my mental right. You know I'm throwing that at. That's a little Marshawn Lynch there. But yeah, I think for Trevor Lawrence, this would be a nice get. I mean, if you're a businessman, you can hire a guy that's worked alongside Elon Musk or the Jeff Bezos or whoever, and there's some things about that business that you feel like you could model and help improve your business, it probably is a wise decision to take that steps forward. 803-450-0086, text line, phone line. Again, be a part of the program anytime, any place, anywhere. Always good to hang out with you, to talk a little Clemson football, to talk a little Clemson in the pros. I mean, we really do try to shift gears on you a little bit. Speaking of which, coming up tomorrow at noon, Clemson basketball tries to rebound after their loss against Virginia earlier in the week as the Tigers take on NC State in Raleigh. Again, tomorrow at noon on a regional sports network, which tends to mean Bally Sports, which was once Fox Sports Southeast. We'll hit a break. We'll come back, and I'll talk to you a little bit about the Clemson game and much more right after this. Stay with us.
Let me tell you who I trust to protect my home and my family. Modern Exterminating. Hey, it's Lawton Swan, and when you need top quality service from a team that knows what bugs you, call Modern Exterminating, 765-2315. They're locally owned and offer a full complement of pest elimination services, including complete pest control, termite plans, moisture control, and more. Check out Modern Exterminating online at pestfreesc.com or give them a call today, 765-2315. Modern Exterminating. They know what bugs you. By popular demand, Great Southern Homes now lists their coming soon communities online. Whether you're looking for a new home in your hometown, moving to a new town, or just want your pick of choice lots, this is the place to start. Great Southern Homes invites you to put the wow in your new home with options and upgrades. Live green, live smart in your new green smart home. Show your style and personalize your new home with options and upgrades from Great Southern Homes. Find your dream home today, greatsouthernhomes.com. Let me tell you about the fine folks over at General Dentistry of Lexington. Dr. Bennett Hammett and Dr. Rick Jackson can take care of all your dental needs. With TVs and headphones in every room, digital x-rays done in a flash, you can relax while their wonderful staff takes care of all your dental needs. 803-957-2297. Tell them you heard about them right here on the show that shakes the Southland and get $50 off your first visit. That's General Dentistry of Lexington, located at 109 Timber Mill Drive, right off of Highway 1.
Oh, on the chilly side today, we do not get out of the 40s, although it will be bright and sunny. Tomorrow, the same story. On Sunday, a touch warmer, but in comes the rain. For ABC Columbia, Channel 25, I'm Tyler Ryan.
This report is sponsored by Wendy's Hot and Buttery Breakfast Biscuit Sandwich. It's better breakfast o'clock at Wendy's because it all starts with a better biscuit. Get hot and buttery Wendy's breakfast biscuits made with oven-baked bacon or savory sausage, fresh cracked egg, and cheese. So don't risk your biscuit. Get Wendy's instead. Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's.
Every year, Steve Faircal climbs the stairs at the John Hancock Center in Chicago, 94 floors to the top.
It's called the hustle up the Hancock.
It's hard to believe when you watch Steve today that a few years ago, his lungs were failing and he was fighting to survive.
For 8 hours a day, someone was pounding on my chest to try and keep my lungs clear. I honestly don't think I had more than a couple weeks to live.
That's when Steve received the gift of life, a double lung transplant made possible by an organ donor.
After I got my new lungs, I started doing things that I had never been able to do. I never knew that breathing could feel this good.
Steve climbs to honor his donor and to raise awareness for organ, eye, and tissue donation.
Wouldn't you like that when you left this beautiful planet, that you could save a few lives on your way out? It's an incredible gift.
Imagine what you could make possible by leaving behind the gift of life. Learn more and sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Health Resources and Services Administration.
There are many sounds in your day-to-day life. There are sounds that wake you up. Sounds that make you smile. Sounds that energize you. And sounds that help you relax. But there are some sounds that can alert you to danger and can help save lives. Wireless emergency alerts, now on many mobile devices, use a unique sound and vibration to bring you information about severe weather events, Amber Alerts, or other emergencies in your area. With critical information from local sources you know and trust, you can be in the know, wherever you are. For more information, visit ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Want to hit a home run with your smart speaker? Alexa, play Fox Sports Radio 1400 on iHeartRadio.
That sounds like a pretty good choice to me.
Rocking and rolling along with you on a Friday afternoon. Real quick on the Jacksonville Jaguars front, a couple of other things here. I know my buddy Lowell, the producer extraordinaire, was not excited with the news that Bill O'Brien, former Houston Texans head coach and current Alabama offensive coordinator, might also be in the running for that Jacksonville Jaguars job. Ironically, O'Brien, who's with Alabama, as I mentioned, is working alongside former Jaguars head coach Doug Marrone, who is the Alabama Crimson Tide's offensive line coach, which all resets me back to the laugh we had with Tim Bray on yesterday's show. And, of course, here in the opening segment, when we replayed that little snippet of the interview with Tim, the laugh that we had when I said Nick Saban instead of Nick Eason. I did correct myself, but still. And then we joked about how I said something along the lines of, yeah, people that say Dabo Swinney doesn't hire great coordinators. But, man, you look at some of the coordinators that they've got there at Alabama, it is impressive. I just don't want to see O'Brien with the Jaguars because of the way things went with Deshaun Watson. It just wasn't great. And they got rid of Nuke Hopkins, and apparently there was like a blow up or a dust up between he and J.J. Watt, his best player, and they say that's the moment he lost that team. I don't have time for that. Give me Byron Leftwich. Give me somebody that's worked with Tom Brady, and let's call it a day. Now, then again, I guess let me check one thing. Now, Bill O'Brien, I mean, maybe I say that, and Bill O'Brien, was he the offensive coordinator with the Patriots? Yeah, he was 2011, so he worked with Tom Brady as well from 07 to 11. So maybe I should cut him a little bit of slack, but I'm not going to. I did not like him as the head coach with the Texans when I was really following them, when you had Hopkins and Watson and I guess technically Carlos Watkins at that time, but DJ Reader. Like, I was really following that team, but man, they were not great. Truth be told, just not great. Speaking of not great, Clemson basketball's free throw shooting the last time they were on the gridiron against Virginia, I think cost them a game in Little John Coliseum. Well, the 9-5 Tigers, 1-2 in the ACC, will travel to Raleigh tomorrow to take on the Wolfpack, who are 8-7 overall and 1-3. 12 o'clock tip-off on the Regional Sports Network. The Tigers lost their 4-game winning streak in that 75-65 loss on Tuesday to Virginia. Virginia, ironically, was the last team to beat Clemson in the Little John Coliseum. So the Tigers have defended their home court well, but can't beat Virginia. At home, I should say. They beat them at John Paul Jones Arena. They went up to Virginia and got a dub, but have not been able to beat Virginia in Clemson. For the Tigers and the Wolfpack, this will be their 161st matchup all time. And I know you hate to hear me mention Clemson on the road in the state of North Carolina, but they've got the single road victory ever against North Carolina. They've got just a handful of victories all time against Duke. And the Tigers are just 14-51 at NC State all time. They have only won 14 games at NC State ever. Now, I don't know if you got your protractor out or your calculator or whatever. Those numbers are horrendous. And that is probably one of the more mind-blowing statistics about Clemson's lack of success on the hardwood is that against those three teams in the triangle, the Tigers are awful historically. And I do wonder, and I think we all have wondered for a long time, like, what caused that gap to exist, not just between Clemson and Duke or Clemson, North Carolina, but also NC State. That is the thing that is just wild, is that all three of those series are just so lopsided. It really is mind-blowing sometimes when you take a look at it. Again, I think when you talk about this game and what it comes down to, guard play for Clemson on the perimeter, shooting the basketball, no question. You've got to be able to knock down big shots, free throws. You got to be able to just find a way to create open looks for your guys on the perimeter with an undersized offensive backcourt. And then PJ Hall, I know he's still young and developing, and Hunter Tyson, two of your bigger interior players, cannot vanish. They just can't disappear. You can't go Casper the Friendly Ghost on this thing. You can't foul out. You got to be a bruiser, but you got to do it. What's the right word? Not on the sly, right? But you definitely want to make sure that you're protecting your best interest, and that is for those two guys staying on the court. You got to have both of those players playing well and aggressively. But it's a fine line. I almost said it's a fine wine. Hey, it's a Friday. Whatever floats your boat. It's a fine line, though, for me when it comes down to Clemson and Hall and Hunter Tyson having to manage the game within the game. Tyson much more mature in that respect, but can vanish at times. PJ Hall still, I think, learning how to adapt to playing at this level.
Hi,
stay with us.
This is John Farley.
Hour one, coming up
For the
right
past
after
12 years, you've seen me on TV. But before becoming a meteorologist, my first degree was actually in finance. My parents, like a lot of people, didn't know much about the financial world. As a result, they got exploited by some not-so-honest folks. That's why finance has always been a passion of mine, and for the last 6 years, I've been working with the team at Preservation Specialists to help people just like you plan for your retirement. What I love about Preservation Specialists is that we are locally owned and fiercely independent. That means we simply work for you. If that's what you want in a financial advisor, then give us a call now at 803-9-RETIRE. That's 803-9-RETIRE. Don't make the same mistakes my parents did. Work with an advisor who can help get you to and through retirement successfully. 803-9-RETIRE.
Firm offers insurance services. Investment advisory services offered through Kalos Capital, Inc.
If you suffer from erectile dysfunction or ED, we know what your New Year's resolution is. Peak Performance for Men knows that 90% of ED cases are caused by old, broken down blood vessels. Medication may offer a temporary cure for the symptom, but Peak Performance for Men uses focused linear compression therapy to treat the cause. Focused linear compression therapy is a scientifically proven, non-invasive treatment that uses pulsed energy waves to open and repair aging blood vessels, increasing blood flow and stimulating stem cell growth, which in turn improves sexual performance. There's no drugs, pumps, needles, surgery, or pain, so there's no side effects or downtime. Over 80% of men who receive the treatment have long-term improvement in male performance, which means Peak Performance for Men can make that New Year's resolution come true. Let the experts help you today. They're offering a free consultation and ultrasound, so why wait? Call 803-302-8181 or visit peakperformanceformen.com.
Has this ever happened to you? My friend was telling me about his new pair of headphones, so I looked them up online. Now, everywhere I go is a creepy ad for those headphones I looked at one time. I hate that feeling like I'm being watched. I got DuckDuckGo and saw a difference right away. With one download, you can search and browse privately, avoiding trackers, all for free. It's that simple. Take back your privacy online with DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
Sure, we have 30 seconds to tell you that drivers who switch to Progressive could save big. But then what? Well, radio has been called theater of the mind, so let's tell a story with sound effects. Wow, it's like I was in the story. Almost makes me forget this was supposed to be about saving big with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
If your New Year's resolution includes getting into shape, make step one downloading the free iHeartRadio app. Whether your goal is balancing mind and body or ramping up the intensity to beast mode, we've got the music to get you moving and keep you motivated with dozens of specially curated workout playlists, from rock pump up to yoga music. Just put your headphones on and tap playlists to get started on reaching your goals. iHeart. Discover music, radio, and podcasts you'll love.
iHeartRadio.
Mothers Against Drunk Driving supports victims of drunk driving, drug driving, and underage drinking at no charge. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org. That's MADD.org.
Fox Sports Radio 1400. Online at foxsportsradio1400.com. On your phone with the iHeartRadio app. And on hundreds of devices like Alexa, Google Home, Xbox, and Sonos. An iHeartRadio station.
Final segment on a Friday afternoon, the show that shakes the Southland Clemson Sports Salt Lawton Swan with you. Always great to hang out and have a little fun talking a little college football, maybe a little pro football. Who knows, man? I will say this, for the critics of the college football playoff, and there are many, and there probably should be, and I am certainly one of those in some respects, I do think that you can gain an appreciation for what the college football playoff could be over the next couple of weeks as we close in on the NFL playoffs. And as I've said here for not days, not months, but years, whether it be in the BCS era, whether it be in the college football playoff era, you can be a coach like Dabo Swinney, and you can have a stance that you think that the expansion of the college football playoff would water down the regular season. Like, you could get into all of that. But what you can't deny to me is that the NFL, and more specifically, the NFL playoffs work. Like, that is the thing that, to me, is the statement that is the only statement that you should have to make to anybody that is pro going back to a BCS two-team era where they play for the title. For whatever reason anybody would ever want to feel that way, there are some of you out there that do. And I would say, could you imagine if the NFL did that? You would say, no, that'd be crazy. You guys would tell me, Swanee, like, that's the thing. You put it in the context of another league and you go, that would be absurd for the NFL to just pick the top two teams and have them play for the Super Bowl every year. Well, why not? Why not? Does it water down the season for you? Or do you enjoy those late game or late season matchups where you got 3 or 4 teams around the league fighting for the final few spots to get into the playoffs? Which honestly waters it down more. Imagine 2 teams just running away from the rest of their divisions or the rest of their conference. And we know, well, there you go. Nothing anybody can do. They can't run them down now. I mean, that is the beauty of having a playoff that is larger than 2 or 4. This year, and again, out in the AFC, it would be a very tight race anyway for that last spot. But depending on the outcomes of, I guess, this weekend's games, I mean, you'd be looking at just saying, all right, well, Green Bay, assuming that they win their final game of the season. All right, Green Bay, it's going to be you and it's going to be the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Go get them. Now, some of you say, well, Swanee, that's what it's going to be anyway. And it might very well be. But there's nothing wrong with having an expanded playoff that is going to present multiple opportunities for lots of teams to get in. And the fact that over the final couple of weeks of the season, you had these games that meant a lot to several teams. Right now, at the end of the college football season, I've always said, I can't tell you who these games mean a whole lot to. And you'll tell me, well, they mean a lot to all these guys. No, what I'm saying is, if you're 15th in the country, currently, your last game of the season, outside of maybe being a rivalry game, outside of whatever, is not a game that has the magnitude that it would if that last game meant that you might move up into the top 12 if there were a 12-team playoff. Or however many teams you want to play it off. And again, the next time somebody says to you, I think that the BCS was the better way to do it, then ask them how it sounds if the NFL were to go to a BCS-style format. We're going to play all these games all year, all over the country, and we're going to let a computer pick the top 2 teams to play for all the marbles. You guys would say to me, that is ruining the NFL, Swanee. That ruins the entire postseason in the NFL. And I can't think of a person, not Zip Zero, Stingy with De Niro. None of you have ever called up or texted this show and said, Swanee, you know what the NFL needs to do? Contract the playoff. Take it down a little bit. They need to really streamline it down to 4 or 2. Not once. And if I were to suggest it on the air that be a move that was made, you want to go back to Jim, John, Jacob, Jingleheimer, Schmidt, or whoever it was that came after me the other day about my credibility, man, you bebop on the air and start talking about taking the NFL down to 2 games in a BCS format. the two teams in the BCS format in one game for all the marbles, you guys would laugh me out of here. They ought to. You know what? If I ever actually suggest that on the air, the suits at iHeart ought to walk in. Well, they can't. You can't walk into my house. But they ought to email and be like, Swanee, you're out of here. No more. You're done. You can't come on the air with a clown take. Here you go, bozo. Here's your little clown nose. Now you're going to be on WGN in the morning, having some fun with kids, showing them ping pong balls or whatever that creepy clown used to do when I was a kid on WGN. Like, everybody was so excited when you got new channels. Like, yes, we got MTV. Like in Barnwell, when we got MTV, it's like a thing. I mean, when we got Subway, that was a thing. Yes, that didn't happen until 1995 when I was a senior in high school. Yes. You got WGN, you're like, sweet, a new channel. Then you turn it on, you see that creepy Bozo the Clown show. You're like, no, not anything but that. Anything
Clemson
but Bozo
Sports
the
Talk
Clown.
with Lawton Swan on Columbia's home.
Right
for
after
sports.
this, hour 2,
Fox
flip
Sports
the time,
Radio
so it's not a
1400.
clown. Stay
Fox
with
Sports Radio 1400 traffic.
Traffic tie-ups include Two Notch at Old National Highway, also Lake Drive at Lake Murray Boulevard. The 103.5 FM WVOC traffic tip line numbers 343-1055.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. If New Year calls for more hiring, check out Indeed, the all-in-one hiring platform that makes it easy to attract, screen, and interview candidates all in one place. Sponsor your first job post today after visiting Indeed.com/credit.
Lawton Swan here. And I know in sports, we're always talking about the big guy. Well, let me tell you, when you're buying a car, you don't need that. What you need to do is head down to Orangeburg to my good friends at Ferry Chevrolet Cadillac. 4 generations of family-owned business right there at Ferry Chevrolet. No dock fees, no tricks, straightforward pricing in a low-pressure environment you'll love. Check them out online, ferrychevrolet.com, or call them 803-536-1600. It's Ferry Chevrolet Cadillac, just a short 30-minute drive off of exit 145A in Orangeburg.
Group training is a fun, accountable way to get in shape. I'm Coach Stewart of Dynamic Health and Fitness. Come train with one of our special groups today. We will focus on giving you the support you need to get in shape. We use the Dynamic Mob, featuring intervals of cardio, functional training, and strength training to change your lifestyle to make you healthy. Get started today at any of our locations in Lexington or West Columbia, or call 803-408-4060 or online at dynamichealthclub.com.
Dad, this is fun. I didn't think I liked kayaking.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, but I think it's time to head back in.
Okay. Can we come back?
Sure.
Tomorrow?
Let's check with Mom. Hey, be careful getting out of the boat.
It's a kayak, Dad.
I'm going to return the kayak. Just make sure you have everything.
Yep. Can we walk home?
How about a taxi? 233 North Maple, please.
It's a short fare from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a neighborhood park or green space near you. Also, find fun activities to do like boating and biking or camping and hiking, plus much more. It's all right in your naturehood.
Best day ever.
A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard. So you don't need to ditch the car and start rollerblading to work.
I look ridiculous.
You look ridiculous!
You don't need to start foraging wild berries.
I was skeptical, but these are actually pretty good.
You don't need to sell your organs on the black market.
Lie back. This is gonna hurt.
Yeah, that hurts.
You don't need to rent out your apartment to drifters.
I made a fire with the wood in your bedroom
That's my dresser!
and your closet door.
You just need an internet connection. Don't get left behind. Start your personal savings plan with the tips and tools on feedthepig.org. That way, you don't need to sell all your belongings and live in a commune.
These dungarees belong to all of us now, Tom.
Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Whoa, long time no see. It's me, the Rock t-shirt in the back of your closet. Dude, remember? You crowd surfed in me, man. But you haven't worn me in like forever. I get it, you're retired, but I still got some rock left in me. So take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff. Create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
WCOS Columbia, Fox Sports Radio 1400, an iHeart radio station available everywhere on our free iHeartRadio app. #1 for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one.
It's time for Clemson Sports Talk with Lawton Swan.
Just call me Swanee.
Tiger style. Tiger style.
It is hour number 2. That's Drive Time right here on the show that shakes us out. Land Clemson Sports Talk. Lawton Swan with you on a Friday afternoon, 5 o'clock as you get in the car to make your way home. The People's Champ hangs out with us. Clemson Tom. Tom, what's going on, man? Welcome in.
Hey, brother. Happy Friday. How you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling great. Glad to have a Friday here. I know Clemson Tiger fans wish it was the Friday before a college football playoff national championship game for them. Instead, it's the Bulldogs and the Crimson Tide that'll be facing off. Tom, what do you make of this national championship matchup Monday night?
It's tough to bet against Saban. I mean, it really is. That's kind of where he makes his claim to fame, honestly. But I don't dislike Georgia. I just don't like them, really. You know what I mean? I don't have like a deep-rooted hatred for them. But you kind of would like to have someone else win it besides Alabama. So I'm kind of pulling for them, but I'm not really pulling for them. If Alabama wins, what else is new? If Georgia wins, you got to hear about it, from those random Georgia fans that start barking at you in the supermarket line. But either or is whatever to me right now.
I think in a lot of respects for Alabama, the one thing I will say, and I brought this up earlier this week, if Nick Saban were to win, I'm not saying he's going to retire, but what more does he have to prove, right? Like, I mean, if he walked away,
not really, yeah.
It's not like people are going to go, man, that guy really gave up on his team. I mean, he didn't have anything to prove.
No, he really doesn't. If anything, he's overproved it. He's going to go down, and he's a Hall of Famer already, first ballot. And he's getting to that age where he might want to spend some more time, with the grandkids. But who knows? He seems to still be enjoying it. When coaches don't enjoy it, they tend to show it, and he doesn't really seem to show it. He probably just enjoys it, though. I think he still enjoys coaching. I think he likes being around the guys, being around the team. He's calling on shots. I mean, I'm married. She lets me pretend I call the shots. I don't really. I think most married men would agree with that. But
yeah, listen,
if he
don't ever ask me what I'm doing on a weekend. I got no idea. I say you got to ask the boss. She'll tell you what I'm doing.
Oh gosh, the only time I can say this is what we're doing is if it's a golf tournament. It's already scheduled because we paid to go there. So it's what it is.
I understand that. Clemson Tom's on Twitter at Clemson Tom. So when it comes down to it, let's just say Georgia, for the sake of the argument, finds a way to beat Alabama. I'm kind of surprised the Bulldogs were favored, to be honest, after the beatdown they took in the SEC championship. But if Georgia does indeed win it and Kirby Smart gets his first title, to me, it would feel like Georgia took another step towards truly threatening Clemson for being the second best team maybe in college football. I know Clemson didn't look like it this year, but I really feel like they've been the second most consistent team in this college football playoff era. If Georgia gets a title on Monday night, they kind of insert their foot into that conversation a little bit more.
I see what you're saying, and maybe we've been a little bit more consistent than they have been. We're always in the playoff. I mean, I don't know what to do with the playoff. I was like, we're not there. What do we do here? It felt weird.
That's true.
They need to be a little bit more consistent. They'll have, like, when they have a good year, they have a good year. But then they're not in the playoffs a lot like we are. You know, they've been there. They're for them to win, I think it catapults them to our level, if that makes sense.
Nick Eason's coming back to Clemson after Todd Bates surprised everybody leaving for Oklahoma after Clemson's bowl victory over Iowa State. I also know that Miguel Chavis, a former defensive analyst and former Clemson Tiger defensive lineman, also threw a little shade towards Tiger Town on social media, which is surprising for a guy who's an alum of the school. I called him out. I called him insignificant in this whole ordeal.
What did he
when
say?
It comes down to it, say that again.
What did he say? I didn't know about this.
Well, Miguel Chavis put out a tweet that it was a graphic that had all the stats that Clemson racked up when Brent Venables was there.
Oh, I did know this. Yeah, Clemson actually tweeted out that players win championship, not coaches or something like that. Yeah, so Clemson went back at him.
Yeah, so the players do it, right? And so my thing is, let's first talk about Todd Bates leaving. I mean, how surprised were you that Todd Bates not necessarily left for Oklahoma, but the timing, right? Like coaching the bowl game.
The timing was weird.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the timing was weird. I didn't, especially after we promoted him. You know, it was a little weird, and even his tweets after that were also kind of what's going on here. It does feel like there's a little bit of internal stuff going on that we don't know. So,
well, I asked a question to William Qualkenbush earlier this week, and he tended to agree with this, I think. If Todd Bates had been named the defensive coordinator at Clemson, he's still at Clemson, right?
Who's that?
Todd Bates. If he had been named DC instead of Wes Goodwin and Mickey
Conley.
Oh,
yes. I mean, you would assume so. I would think so. Yeah, I would assume he'd still be at Clemson.
So it was the title. It was the name.
But, I mean,
he was named assistant head coach and defensive line coach and got a $200,000 pay raise and left.
Yeah, but that's why, I mean, you would assume so, but that's what I was about to get at. Like, the title that he got and the money he got is like wow, you know?
Let me tell you, you can call me head of cow manure shoveling and pay me $715,000 a year. I'd have the biggest grin across my face and shovel more cow manure than any man has ever shoveled.
You could label me anything and pay me that kind of money. I'm like, yeah, that's what's on my business card. Let's take the
my business card.
Like, are you kidding me? Like, I don't care what my title is. Get out of here. Like, yeah, just pay me what I'm worth. Call me whatever you want. Just call me.
Now, what do you think about Miguel Chavis? I think Xavier Brewer also retweeted it. I thought Brewer had been the first to tweet it, but apparently it was Miguel Chavis. I could not find it on Oklahoma's official Twitter account anywhere. That graphic, and then sort of saying men lie, women lie, stats don't. We didn't leave the defense in South Carolina.
I did see this though.
Why is that?
I think that's what they're trying to say is like they built the defense. That's their defense. That's all it is. It's their scheme. It's their game plan. It's their playbook. It's all that. And I didn't have a problem with them saying that because I understood what it meant. Like, we didn't leave it in South Carolina. Like, we are those guys. I didn't have a problem with that at all. You got to remember, they're still trying to recruit guys. So I don't have a problem with that at all. But it does seem weird. That's what I'm going to say. It seems odd, but like, yeah, do whatever you got to do. Don't play me in a bowl game, though.
What? Oh, I like where your head's at. Like, why not just say, hey, Brent Venables' defenses did this? I mean, I don't even think, I'll be honest, I don't think Clemson responds if that's all they say. But when he threw out the little subtle jab at the state, I think Clemson's media team was like, oh, okay, well, how you like them apples?
Yeah, you kind of had to. You just had to be like, all right, like, I see you. Like, calm it down. It's just like one of those things where if they're going to tweet what they're going to tweet, but at the same time, like, I won't say it was disrespectful, but
he's insignificant. I mean, that's what I said. He's insignificant. Like Miguel Chavis, who are you? I mean, I know who he is. I remember when he played, but
I mean, you're saying though, it was flirting with it, though. You know what I mean?
I mean, if I'm Brent Venables, Miguel Chavis is in my office today, and I'm like, "What are you doing, bonehead?"
He probably did. I mean, we don't know. He probably did. Who knows? But it just, I did not like it. It was like, I don't know what to say. It's just like one of those things. It's like, really? Like it's almost like, seriously, like, come on.
It's like too soon. It's like too soon.
Not even
no
too
need
soon.
to even do it. If you don't have, I was taught, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Yeah, that's why you talk a lot, because you got a lot of nice things to say.
Thank you, Tom. By the way, I think your hair looks fabulous the last time I saw you on social media. So there you go.
I appreciate it, brother. Appreciate it. It's got a cut last night. But yeah, I just think this cat, it was dumb. It was kind of in poor taste. He ain't gonna walk into Clemson and say it. You know what I'm saying? So
right. And I don't know if that was the other thing. If Nick Eason is at Clemson, we'll talk about the hire of Nick Eason here in a minute. But if Nick Eason's there for 10 years and you're out in Oklahoma and you do great things and a job comes open, Dabo Swinney might hire you to be the defensive line coach. Except now, if I'm Swinney, I kind of look at your resume and I go, tell me about this tweet again. Yeah. No, we're good.
Like, can you shut up a little bit? The internet doesn't forget. Trust me.
Exactly.
Don't forget.
All right. Nick Eason, former Clemson Tiger defensive lineman, going to replace Todd Bates. Your thoughts on that hire?
Absolutely loved the hire. Was talking about him being the new guy as soon as it happened. Someone's like, who are you going to get? I'm like, I don't know. Why don't you just look over at Clemson Without a Lake? They got a guy there I like. He played in the league. He knows what it takes. He played at a college that I kind of like as well. He's homegrown. He's the guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, when
Tim Beret called him, Tim Beret said on this show yesterday that Nick Eason was Christian Wilkins before Christian Wilkins was there.
Exactly. Yes, I know. I heard the same thing. That's what I was about to say. He was a Christian Wilkins before Christian Wilkins. You cannot not like that hire. And he's been successful. So I love it, man. He's going to bring some swagger. He's going to bring some energy. Most importantly, he's going to bring knowledge. And that's what you want at that position. You want someone that knows what it takes. You want someone that's actually been in the trenches, played against the teams you're going to be playing against, know what it means to have that paw on the side of your helmet. And that's something you can't coach what that means. You got you something you just learn, and it's in your blood from there on out. That's what makes Clemson Clemson. So it makes us a little bit different. You put that paw on, it just means. I'm not saying the SEC just means more, but at the same time, it's different. It does mean a lot. There's a lot of respect that goes with that paw, a lot of love, a lot of passion. When you put that paw on, you got to conduct yourself a little bit differently, and he understands that. And I think he's going to pass that down. And I think the defense is going to keep on going. I love it.
On Twitter, he is at Clemson Tom. You can go there and follow him and have a good time. Tom, I want to get to a couple of more things before we get you out here. Always appreciate you on a Friday. First off, Justin Ross announcing officially he'll be going to the NFL. No real surprise there. Now, he only had, I think, 43 or 46 receptions this season, same amount he had his freshman year, about half the yardage. Everybody knows about his neck issue that he dealt with. Did he need another season to prove himself that he was back, or do you think he can do enough through the combine and preparation to prove that, hey, I can still play this game at the highest level? Because whether it was DJ, whether it was injuries or whatever, this past year wasn't that bounce back breakout year that I think everybody hoped he might have coming into the 2021 campaign.
Yeah, I think he needed to go get the money. I think he can do enough in the combine. It's on tape. You're going to have all these NFL teams digesting every single thing about those injuries, and they're going to know more about it than anyone else. And I don't blame him for not wanting to come back. who are you coming back to? What are you coming back for? You've been around. You've already showcased what it is. It's not like Trevor's back there. It's not like, Deshaun's back there throwing you the ball.
Heck, man. Go. With the portal, he could go to Alabama. I mean, he can go anywhere with the portal. What does it matter?
He's not going to Alabama. No, he's not going to go.
No, I know. I know he's going to the NFL, but I guess my point is, even if you didn't want to come back to Clemson, you could go somewhere else if you didn't think DJ was good enough of a quarterback.
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm trying to say is, like, who's he going to come back for? Just to put it on tape some more? Just to show, hey, this is what I can still do?
I got you.
Just go ahead and go into the NFL and cash that check. I don't know if he's going to get drafted. He might get signed as a free agent. It all depends on how healthy he is. And he's earned it, man. He's a phenomenal athlete. I'll never forget that catch. Jumping left, reaches over right, one-handed, boom, catches it in. The guy is just he's just talented. That's what you want in receivers, that guy right there. And I wish him all the best.
I think that catch is probably still the greatest catch in the history of the college football playoffs. I mean, notwithstanding like Hunter Renfro's last moment or the walk-off touchdown that Devontae Smith had a couple of years ago for Alabama against Georgia. I mean, just legitimately athleticism personified. That catch, that's one of the most ridiculous catches I've ever seen. So final thing for you here, Tom, and we'll get you out of the way. I talked to you about Alabama and Georgia earlier, and we just brought up the national championship game, so I want to reset one other thing with you on it. That Georgia-Alabama game a couple of years ago was not an SEC game rematch. As a matter of fact, that game was widely viewed. That year, Georgia and Auburn actually played in the SEC championship game, and Alabama got a backdoor into the into the college football playoff. They didn't even play championship weekend. This game is a rematch. And when I look on social media, I see people like saying, well, tell me who wins it, because I'm not watching. Is there a chance, and this would tell us really, I think this would tell us a big thing about the college football playoff. If this game doesn't pull numbers, if this is not a well-received national championship, then we'll know pretty quickly that a rematch of a conference championship game is not an ideal circumstance for the CFP championship game. Your thoughts on that take?
I would agree. But at the same time, it's not their fault. The best two teams, in my opinion, are playing. People don't want to watch a rematch, especially that close. Now, if it was Clemson and Georgia, they're like, oh, the rematch from the first game of the week. I mean, yeah, of course. But just in the conference championship, that was just a month ago. No one wants to see it again. Unless it came down to a last-second field goal, a walk-off, something exciting. But the SEC championship game was exciting, and then it started. And then it wasn't exciting anymore. After the coin toss, it was over. The pregame hype, all that trash talk, that was the fun part. Then they decided to play football, and it was over. So that's what's probably going to drop it in the rankings, unless, someone's keeping up with it. Third quarter, it's going back and forth, kind of like our game with Alabama. Then, the ratings are going to go up, but the beginning ratings probably aren't going to be anything. But it's not the ratings' fault or for the college football committee's fault that those two teams are in it. I mean, they earned it. But at the same time, no one wants to watch two teams that just played a month ago play in another championship game. It is kind of boring.
That's the problem. It just took place. It feels
like
just happened. Yeah, it feels like you're the tape, so to speak, is still warm from being recorded. I mean, I'm throwing you way back. Final thing, Tom. Yeah. I know you're a guy that keeps up with the spreads. How surprised are you that Georgia's a favorite by 2.5 points?
Oh gosh, I was very, very surprised. I had to look at other sports books. I thought it was a misprint, to be honest with you. But no, it's true. So the smart money is taking Alabama on the money line because the payout's a little bit better. But at the end of the day, I have lost bets on stuff that I thought was a sure lock, and that's why it's called gambling.
There it is. Tom, buddy, always appreciate you, man. Y'all have a great weekend.
Yes, sir. You do the same. Thank you.
Well, there you go. Clemson Tom here on a Friday afternoon. He says that's why it's called gambling. 2.5 point favorites, the Georgia Bulldogs. I mean, that was a surprising result for me, or number. After not only they lost to Alabama, but the way they lost Alabama. I mean, they were up 10. And I'm not saying you can be secure in your station up 10 points. But, man, when you are up 10 and then you get essentially blown out, that doesn't do the best. That's not that doesn't exactly stroke the confidence for a lot of people. We'll hit a break. We'll come back with more on a Friday on Clemson Sports Talk.
Fox Sports Radio 1400 traffic.
Traffic tie-ups include two-notch at Old National Highway, also Lake Drive at Lake Murray Boulevard. The 103.5 FM WVOC traffic tip line numbers 343-1055.
This report is sponsored by DuckDuckGo. Protect your privacy for free with DuckDuckGo.
I bought football tickets for my husband's birthday, and now I'm in a football bubble. All I see online are articles and ads about football. I hate feeling manipulated. I downloaded DuckDuckGo and saw a difference right away. Take back your privacy online with DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
It's about time to crank up the old fireplace for warmth and for the holidays ahead. Tim's Gas Depot has an important message for those looking to install this year or for those that may be in need of service. Do not wait. Hurry. Like many industries, supply lines are thin and experienced help is hard to find because Tim's Gas Depot services units as well as selling and installing them. They can use a little help too. Call now. And if you know someone that would like a rewarding career, call them sooner. Tim's Gas Depot on the Irmo side of Broad River Road. Search for them online at timsgasdepot.com.
If your New Year's resolution is to spend more quality time with your partner, don't let ED get in the way. The professional erectile dysfunction specialists at Peak Performance for Men know that a new year means a new you, and they're ready to help. 90% of male performance issues are caused by old, broken down blood vessels, which affects blood flow. Peak Performance for Men treats this problem using focused linear compression therapy, an FDA-cleared medical device. Our focused linear compression therapy is a scientifically proven, minimally invasive procedure that uses pulsed energy waves to open and repair aging blood vessels. This increases blood flow, stimulates stem cell growth, and greatly improves male performance. With Peak Performance for Men, there are no medications, no surgery, and no side effects. Over 80% of men who receive the treatment experience long-term improvement. Call now to receive your free consultation and free medical ultrasound at 803-302-8181. Schedule now at 803-302-8181.
Sharing has never meant as much as it does now. We share the things we love most in life for the world to see. But what if we could actually do more with our sharing than just collect likes? What if this sharing could be used to make a difference? Now there's a place where we can put all that sharing to good use. The National MS Society is asking people to make a difference and share what they love with someone else who loves it too. Whether it's surfing, dancing, or whatever is important to you, we've created a place that'll help you get your experience out to the world. If you have a story, share it. If you have a solution, share that too. Join us at wearestrongerthanms.org, because together we are stronger.
You're not wired to have a response to this sound. You're neutral to it. You hear it every time you finish a meal and never feel anything. But if we were able to associate this sound with a new stimulus, save the food, we've achieved pulling a natural response from you. Save the food. Why are we doing this, you may ask? Save the food. Because this ad is trying to change your after-meal behavior through brainwashing. Because food waste costs the average family $1,500 a year. Save the food. Cha-ching. And $1,500 extra bucks is like getting a pay raise. Save the food. Cha-ching. You're promoted. Which could pay for your child's braces. Save the food. Cha-ching. You're promoted.
Check out my braces.
So when you hear this sound, rethink your behavior. Cook it, store it, share it. Just don't waste it. For tips and recipes, visit savethefood.com. Brought to you by NRDC and the Ad Council.
Stay on top of today's pop culture. Ace and TJ Mornings and today's hit music all day on 104.7 WNOK.
It is always good to catch up with Clemson Tom. Again, don't forget about our website, clemsonsportstalk.com. If you've never been there, Go check it out. Again, Clemson news, notes, information, videos, portions of this show, a little bit of everything. If you're not a subscriber, consider supporting us. You say, what do you mean supporting you, Swanee? I mean, legitimately, you can back this show and the website by becoming a subscriber over there. And we are working as hard as we can diligently to add more and more awesome content, interviews with recruits, and just trying to continue to grow that aspect of what we do. And it's a lot of fun, but it's a lot of work. And if you appreciate this show and you say, man, I wish Swanee had more on the website, then if you support this show, that helps me support the people that do work on our website to write stories. And then, so you enhance that side of our operations by supporting us here. And the thing about this, nobody in this business is doing 2 hours a day of nearly 100% Clemson coverage for you. Nobody. There's not a show. There's not a website. Nobody gives you 2 powerful hours full of Clemson sports talk the way that we do, which conveniently is why the name of the show is what it is. Now, I have had great debates in the past about whether or not we just want to be the show that shakes the Southland, right? And just expand this bad boy to cover the Southeast. Listen, I have I have thought about it quite a bit, but I also love the ability to focus on my alma mater, the ability to focus on the team that you love in the heart of Gamecock territory. There's also something to that that's a lot of fun. It's planting that flag every afternoon from 4 to 6 o'clock right in the belly of the beast. And it is a big, bright orange flag with the big white paw and 3 national titles on it in the heart of SEC territory, reminding our fine feathered friends that the show that shakes the Southland and the Clemson Tigers aren't going anywhere anytime soon. They're going to be right at the top. And they'll be back competing next year for an opportunity to get to the ACC championship and possibly the college football playoff. 803-450-0086. 803-450-0086. Again, the text line and the phone line. And we thank you for being a part of this program. Now, I mentioned earlier that you get a chance to see Cade Klubnik tomorrow during the Army All-American game. That being said, one Clemson Tiger football player, Torino Pride, will not be able to play this game after a positive COVID-19 test took place earlier this week. He's asymptomatic and practiced on Monday out in San Antonio. So he will not be out there on the field, although Cade Klubnik will be. As of now, as far as Cade Klubnik goes, I think for a lot of you that have not seen him play, you are really going to like what you see from this young man. Now, these games tend to favor the offense, in my opinion, because of the lack of some of the things you can do defensively to hinder the play of these quarterbacks. But I still believe that you're going to see a lot of things that you appreciated about Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence from the standpoint of Cade Klubnik's ability to pull the ball down if things break down in the pocket, the ability, escapability, I think is that word that so many people like to use. And then, I think you're going to see a kid with a good, sharp arm that is confident, can throw on the run, can throw from the pocket. I mean, he really has all the tools, and there's a reason that he's rocketed up in 247's rankings to the number 1 rated quarterback in the 2022 class. Furthermore, I think the other thing, too, that will not help Cade Klubnik, but will help you gauge what he might be able to do for Clemson his first year on campus, as far as helping this Clemson Tiger team, is that when you get in these all-star games, I mean, you're legitimately surrounded by some of the best players in the country, and you're going heads up against some of the best players. So when you make a key throw, I mean, you've made a legitimate throw. You haven't just burnt some, Johnny Yahoo defensive back playing for nobody. I mean, you're throwing those passes against top-tier competition. So from that standpoint, yeah, I am excited to see what we find out or how things play out for Cade Klubnik tomorrow. And again, that game is on NBC, the Army All-American Bowl, or just the All-American Bowl, or whatever they're calling it now, is at noon. At noon on NBC tomorrow. 803-450-0086. Text line, phone line. Appreciate Clemson Tom being a part on the hotline. You can too. You can call that number anytime. And I say it all the time, and I know you get tired of it. Linda's probably yelling at her screen live. We're coming back live soon. We might still do some shows here and there that end up having to be in the can, if you will, or recorded. Now, this show, if you're wondering, if you're like, Swanee, what do you mean? You're not live right now? What is happening? What kind of time warp are you in, man? No, I'm here with you. Like, I know that people have been chatting over on the website. I was taking a looker during the show. Bible Belt Beauty said, stop looking at me, Swan. Barry said, go Tigers. Happy Friday. Excited to hear about Nick Eason. Brandon had a diatribe about it, essentially saying it's a great hire. I think it's the perfect fit to replace Todd Bates. I mean, on and on and on. And Linda dropped another, hey, Swanee on me. I am here, but I'm just not with the video. We'll hit a break. We'll come back with more Clemson Sports Talk right after this.
Are you thinking about refinancing your home to get cash out for college, a renovation, or to pay off debt? The last thing you want to do is pay thousands of dollars in unnecessary closing costs just to access the equity in your home. After all, you have plans for that money. Cap your closing costs with Cap Center, your local South Carolina lender.
We just helped a client who was a professional chef finance the remodeling of his dream kitchen. By avoiding typical closing costs, he had even more money to put towards the premium quality he had hoped for. So the cash out refinance has been a win-win-win for him. We were able to get his rate down. He's using the cash for something he is passionate about, and the money is actually going back into his home.
Cap your closing costs. Visit capcenter.com. Equal housing lender. Visit capcenter.com for rates, savings, and offer limitations. NMLS ID 67717. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
This is Clay Travis. Here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network.
Presented by DuckDuckGo.
Reports that Jim Harbaugh could be ready to make a return to the NFL, and one of the rumored sites is the Bears. I've got more questions about Chicago right now than I do about Michigan. The Bears are a franchise that's stuck in the past and always a little behind on NFL trends. I think Harbaugh would succeed if he returned to the NFL, but if I were him, I would choose Michigan over the Chicago Bears. I'm Colin Cowherd.
Fed up with companies selling your data? DuckDuckGo is on it. They help millions of people like you take back their privacy online. With one download, you can search and browse privately, avoiding trackers, all for free. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
If your New Year's resolution includes getting into shape, make step one downloading the free iHeartRadio app. Whether your goal is balancing mind and body or ramping up the intensity to beast mode, we've got the music to get you moving and keep you motivated. With dozens of specially curated workout playlists, from rock pump up to yoga music. Just put your headphones on and tap playlists to get started on reaching your goals. iHeart. Discover music, radio, and podcasts you'll love.
iHeartRadio.
Of course my kid's in the right car seat. Well, I think he is.
Yeah, my kid's in a booster seat. He was ready to move up.
He is ready, right?
Her car seat looks like the right size.
There are probably rules on when to move up to a booster seat, aren't there?
Rear facing, forward facing. I think I have it right.
Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Are your children in the right car seat for their age and size? Don't think you know. Know you know. Go to safercar.gov/the right seat.
I know my child's in the right car seat, or else I wouldn't get in the driver's seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Ever think of light bulbs as being cool? They are if you choose energy-efficient bulbs and fixtures that have earned the government's Energy Star label. They're so hot, they're cool. Because they burn cool and last up to 10 times longer, you save money and oodles of energy. Change a light, help the environment, save some green. The solution is as close as your nearest lamp socket. Brighten your environmental future. From the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency.
Want to hit a home run with your smart speaker?
Just say something like this.
Alexa, play Fox Sports Radio 1400 on iHeartRadio.
Happy Friday, everybody. The show that shakes the Southland, Clemson Sports Talk. Lawton Swan hanging out with you here. One of the cool things that'll be taking place over the weekend, ESPN's Week 18 Saturday NFL doubleheader will feature Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit calling the Kansas City Chiefs-Denver Broncos game at 4:15. Again, that's tomorrow. And then those guys will head to Indianapolis to get ready for the College Football Playoff National Title on Monday against, well, with Alabama and Georgia facing off. But, you know, for one, I've always liked this crossover a little bit. And I've really always liked it more from the standpoint of the collegiate announcers moving up and calling the professional games than vice versa. Because when a guy like Dick Vitale, who's currently battling cancer, and again, our thoughts and prayers go out to Dick. He is, you know, for many of us my age, I mean, he was the voice of a generation when it came down to basketball. Over the top. He's a diaper dandy, baby. There's a dude Blue Devils, the camera crazy. He's going crazy. I mean, it was just like it was so good and over the top, and all of the pomp and circumstance, and getting a chance to meet him at Little John and shoot the breeze with him and do those things. I mean, that was cool. That was a cool part of my existence at Clemson during my incredible 7-year college career. But I will say that I always appreciated when guys like Dick Vitale or Jay Billis or whomever moved up to call games because they had a relationship with those players. They knew who those guys were. They maybe called some of those games in college. Going the reverse route is not all that impressive to me, but this is always cool. So again, that's tomorrow. Herbstreit, Fowler, Kansas City Chiefs, Denver Broncos, 4:15 on ESPN. The other thing, I think those games are on ESPN. Or are they? Yeah, it's on ESPN. Okay, I think so. If it's not, you'll find it probably on some other channel. Who knows? I honestly don't know. But I will say, conversely, I think Mike Tirico has worked with the NBC call. Mike Tirico is just a phenomenal. He's a former guest on this show, by the way. If you've never got the chance to hear that interview. I mean, he is phenomenal when it comes down to being a guest and talking about the nuances of the game and the sports because he's been around them for so long. But you remember Mike Tirico at one time was a part of the NFL's Monday Night Football team. And when he transitioned to doing the Notre Dame games, I wouldn't say I had questions about him because we'd seen him call some collegiate work in the past too. But I think it just fits being on NBC. It just kind of had that same flavor. It just, at Notre Dame too kind of has more of a professional persona. And I don't know if you guys will like that take or not, but he just, to me, he has the right fit for that team. It just feels right when you tune in. And when Clemson played them a couple of years ago, last season, when other teams play Notre Dame, if you ever tune in and watch the pregame broadcast, I mean, give NBC credit for this, right? Like ESPN dominates the morning with the ESPN Game Day show, but NBC's coverage of a big game, or really any Notre Dame game, quite frankly, Notre Dame can be playing shoebox U, and I'm telling you, the pregame coverage is set up just like the Super Bowl, just like it. From little underlying storylines that go along with players and just the stats and all the pregame stuff. It is befitting of being. I don't even know if that's how you use the word befitting. But it is befitting of a Super Bowl is what it feels like. And it can be it can be Notre Dame versus anybody. 803-450-0086. Text line, phone line. Be a part of the program. Hang out with us. Have a good time. Always appreciate you. I was just taking a look at the history of the play-by-play men on Monday Night Football. ESPN took it over in 2006. Mike Tirico was the play-by-play man for 9 years through 2015. Since then, Sean McDonough did it for 2 years, 2016 and 2017. Joe Testator did it 2 years, 2018, 2019. Now Steve Levy's done it, 2020 till the present. If ESPN has done anything wrong with Monday Night Football, it's not being consistent with who is calling these games. I mean, Booger McFarland does it for 2 years. Jason Witten does it for 1 year. They finally got Steve Levy, Brian Griese, and Louis Riddick. And I can't tell you the last time I watched it. I honestly couldn't tell you. 803-450-0086. I don't know how we do it, man. But we do. 2 hours in the books when we get back here on a Friday. And I haven't even checked the weather, but I heard tale that it's going to be cold tomorrow in the Midlands. I don't want to deliver false forecasts here on the air, but I have heard tale 28 degrees tonight. Yeah, that's chilly for the old Swan boy. That's chilly for me. I'm glad I got the old comfy and the weighted blanket. I'll be nice and toasty tonight as the temperatures dip below 30. With a break, final segment next.
When a community grows, its hospital should grow too. And that's just what we're doing at Lexington Medical Center. We recently launched the largest hospital expansion project in South Carolina history. Our new 10-story patient tower will help us take better care of patients, including the tiniest infants who need special attention. It will also make room for the growing number of patients who need surgery and intensive care. At Lexington Medical Center, our mission to serve our community never wavers. We're here when you need us today, and we'll be there when you need us tomorrow.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Message and data rates may apply.
Come on, one more rep. You got this. 10. There it is. Nice work, man. You're a beast.
Thanks, man. I feel better than I have in years. And I got to tell you, taking Nugenix makes a huge difference for me.
Nugenix? That's the testosterone booster with TV ads with Frank Thomas. The big hurt, right?
Oh, yeah. This is a legit product. The key ingredient is Testofen, which helps boost free testosterone levels and increase lean muscle mass.
Well, it's clearly working for you. Hey, are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try for themselves?
Yeah, Nugenix is a great way to increase lean muscle and feel stronger with more energy and endurance.
Man, I need to get a complimentary bottle of Nugenix.
No problem. You just got to send them a text. Text FORCE to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix, the #1 selling free testosterone booster at GNC. Nugenix samples are not available in stores, so text FORCE to 42424 right now. Text FORCE to 42424. That's FORCE to 42424.
Hi, I'm Alicia Kaufman Quinton. My daddy, Billy Kaufman, opened Kaufman's Meat Plant at our present location in 1955. My family still works hard every day to ensure fresh quality cuts of beef, pork, and poultry. How about a tasty T-bone, ribeye, or New York strip steak? But to order at Kaufman's Meat and Place, just look for the signs near the intersection of US 1 and I-20 in Lexington. Call us at 356-0076 to place your order. Kaufman's Meat and Place, when you want the very best your money can buy.
Hey, there he is. How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand or what?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you okay?
I'm having a stroke.
Your face looks weird too.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you having a seizure or something?
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear.
I'm having a stroke.
You just need to know the sudden signs. Look for FAST, F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. Or S, speech difficulty. Then T, time. Time to call 911 immediately, because the sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery. Know the sudden signs. Face, arm, speech, time. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You're bringing your daughter to a pop concert. Do you A, wear earplugs?
Isn't this fun, Dad?
I have a soft pretzel.
Or B, just roll with it?
Justin! OMG! I love you, Justin! I love you!
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on adoption, visit adoptuskids.org. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Families affected by disasters urgently need support. Help the American Red Cross provide meals and shelter to those affected by disasters, big and small. Donate to Red Cross Disaster Relief. Go to redcross.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS.
Fox Sports Radio 1400. Online at foxsportsradio1400.com. On your phone with the iHeartRadio app and on hundreds of devices like Alexa, Google Home, Xbox, and Sonos. An iHeartRadio station.
What have you done for me lately? It's a fair question. Just don't lose sight of the bigger picture. Don't forget history. Lucky for us at Clemson, the answer to the questions, what have you done for me lately, and what have you done always, are the same. We win.
Final segment on a Friday afternoon. Lawton Swan, Clemson Sports Talk. Again, the Tigers hiring Nick Eason to be the new defensive line coach and interior defensive line coach, and then also going to be in charge of getting the run game ready. Let us know your thoughts on that, 803-450-0086. Here's what I said earlier in the show about the hire. When you look at it, along with Lemansky Hall, I think Nick Eason's got a great job to do. Some really good work at Clemson. Dabo Swinney saying Nick is the epitome of what I look for in a coach. He went on to say he has had an incredible passion for the game. He's got a great background, and he truly loves the player. In this hire, I really wanted a guy who had experience at the NFL level. I wanted somebody who had coached the best of the best at the highest level, and that's exactly what he's done. He was a great player at Clemson. He's a great Clemson man. Eason returns to Tiger Town, where he was a 4-year letterman for the Tigers from 1999 to 2002. You heard the accolades from legendary Clemson SID Tim Murray just a few moments ago, talking about what he feels Nick Eason brings to the table. He was a 2-time dedication award winner at Clemson by the Clemson strength and conditioning staff. And again, poured himself not only into the gridiron, but also into the classroom. Eason saying, to have this opportunity to come back to Clemson is a blessing from God. It is a dream for most coaches to have the opportunity to coach at their alma mater, and that is the case for me. He said, I want to thank Coach Swinney for the opportunity to be a part of the program with such a rich tradition, one that has become one of the best in the nation. I am looking forward to working with one of the best defensive lines in the country. Again, Nick Eason back in Tiger Town. Tim Murray saying, I think we've got a good one to replace him, talking about Todd Bates, who is now out at Oklahoma. Your thoughts on Eason's hire? You could text us 803-450-0086, 803-450-0086. Eason spent 10 seasons from 2003 through 2012 in the NFL, playing in 117 NFL games with the Browns, Steelers, and Arizona Cardinals. Originally a 4th-round selection by the Denver Broncos in the 2003 draft. Spent his rookie season on the injured reserve list with an Achilles injury. Never played with the Denver Broncos, and made his way to coaching in 2013 as an intern with the Cleveland Browns. Then he spent time in 2014. He was hired by the Tennessee Titans to oversee their transition from a 4-3 to a 3-4 defense. Spent 2 seasons as an assistant defensive line coach from 2014 through 2015, becoming the defensive line coach for the Titans in 2016 and 2017. Then ended up from 2019 through 2020 was the defensive line coach for the Bengals, and then ultimately would end up down in Auburn a year ago. So Clemson has landed Nick Eason to come back and coach on that defensive front. And again, the thing I want to point to that I think is so significant is the fact that this opportunity for Clemson lands you a guy who is already entrenched in the state of Alabama, where Todd Bates already recruits. As a matter of fact, when I was going through the images online for Nick Eason, 3 of them were photos of Eason and Bates recruiting on the sidelines of a high school football game at the same time. Bates for Clemson, then Eason for Auburn. You've also got the fact that Eason, being a former Tiger, has direct connections to this Clemson program. And you heard about his accolades academically and how that also pushes forward the mindset that Dabo Swinney has for his players that are on campus playing football. And last but not least, being a native of the state of Georgia, you know how impactful that state is on Clemson's success. And Eason already in Alabama with Auburn, right there on that Georgia line, has also got great ties to that state, being a native son of the state of Georgia. So the Tigers turn into one of their own. Nick Eason going to be back in Clemson again. Thank you for hanging out today, man. Lots of fun. Always appreciate everybody being a part of the program. So many of you over on Facebook, sharing the show. And I know, man, people are subscribing. Edward's all in. I see you, Edward. Appreciate you, buddy. We got people subscribing left and right to the YouTube channel. Make sure you do that. Ring that bell so you know we're here live with you. And I can't wait to get back after it with you on Monday as we'll be getting set for College Football Playoff National Championship game, Georgia and Alabama. You know, just sitting here thinking about it. I know I'm going to make a prediction, and I don't have to make one today, but golly, something's going to have to change between now and Monday night for your boy Swanee to lean in on Georgia. I just can't see the Bulldogs beating Alabama on this stage. I just can't. Alabama's a different bear, man. They are at a different level. And quite frankly, you know, for everybody being so down on Clemson, who's the one team outside of Alabama that threatened the Bulldogs this year? Tell me, the one team. Tell me. In 3, 2, 1. It was your Tigers. And they didn't play that great this year. So, I mean, why would you think all of a sudden Alabama's going to get beat by Georgia? I don't. I just can't see it at this point. We'll talk to you on Monday. Have a great weekend. Until then, as always, y'all take care now. And go Tigers.
Clemson Sports Talk with Lawton Swan on Columbia's home for sports. Fox Sports Radio 1400. Fox Sports Radio 1400 traffic.
A wreck on Piney Grove at I-26 has the roadway blocked. Also look out for an accident Boundary Road at Faraway Drive.
This report is sponsored by DuckDuckGo. Protect your privacy for free with DuckDuckGo.
I feel like I'm being haunted by a pair of headphones. Everywhere I go is a creepy ad for headphones I looked at one time. I hate that feeling like I'm being watched. I downloaded DuckDuckGo and saw a difference right away. Take back your privacy online with DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
A rose-cut diamond
creates a delicate feminine silhouette.
or a disc of black onyx surrounded by tiny gold beads.
A delicate feminine silhouette.
And that gold tassel pendant just knocks me out.
A delicate feminine silhouette.
Fine jewelry in yellow gold.
The Lagos Covet Collection has finally arrived.
But it was well worth the wait.
You're going to love how it looks on you.
The Lagos Covet Collection at Sylvan's.
Right where it ought to be at 1500 Main.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
You don't usually get a stock tip from a 16-year-old, but I'm here to tell you about a different kind of stock. It's called Better Futures, a stock for social change that's not about making money. Instead, you invest to help students like me go to college. This is beyond a simple donation. It's the opportunity for America to invest in its kids and take an active stake in the future of the country. The return on your investment isn't money. What you get back is knowing you protected our potential. So one day, that potential can grow up to become surgeons and architects, executives and engineers, people who can change the future just by being a part of it. My name is Alicia, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. A public service announcement brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
We first opened about 10 years ago. We were small, just a few of us, but it was exciting. I always dreamt of having my own business. It was kind of slow at first, but things started picking up. We had big plans. But in our wildest dreams, we never thought we'd have this much work. Yeah, with so many businesses caught off guard by the storm, Reed Waste Management has never been busier.
What will become of your business after a disaster? Nearly 2/3 of businesses aren't prepared for an emergency, and 40% of businesses that experience a disaster never recover. Make an emergency plan now before it's too late. For a free online tool that helps you develop an emergency plan to keep your business up and running should disaster strike, visit ready.gov/business. Brought to you by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, the American Red Cross, and the Ad Council.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
Fox Sports Radio 1400, WCOS Columbia. Available everywhere you go with the iHeartRadio app. And now #1 for podcasting at iHeartRadio Station.
All right, let's see.